Hey everybody, Nick here. Welcome to M3 Online. Today's flow is quite unique, where you will need a slippery surface, so somewhere where there's linoleum or wood flooring. You will not need a mat, and you will need some socks. Yeah, so find some socks. Now, if you have mostly carpet, you also can use sliders as well, if that works for you for this entire flow. It's gonna be a lot of fun, a little bit challenging. So we're gonna start just at the top of where you would normally have your mat. And take some deep breaths in and out. Deep breath in, and slow breath out. Inhale, reach your arms out to the sides. And exhale, interlace your hands behind your back. And inhale, squeeze your elbows together, straighten your arms. And with a soft bend to the knees, fold over your thighs. Let your wrists stretch overhead. Lift your sitting bones up, tone your thighs. And take an inhale. And exhale, fold a little bit more. One more inhale. And exhale, and drop your hands to the mat, or to the ground, I should say. Plant your hands. First, just step to plank. Step your feet back. You can even slide your feet back. And push into the ground. Maybe notice you have to work a little bit more here in order to maintain your plank. And breathe in. And breathe out. Really push into the ground. Squeeze your hands back towards your feet. And lift your hips up. Downward facing dog. All of that activation just to stay in downward facing dog. Take an inhale. And exhale, full all the way forward to plank. And take an inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. And inhale, plank. 2 more times like that. Exhale, downward facing dog. And inhale, plank. And try not to slide the feet back. And exhale, downward facing dog. Now, coming to the tops of your hands with your feet just by gripping the ground and pulling your feet forward, lift your hips up, and then slide it back to plank. Pull the feet forward, hips up, and slide it back to plank. One more time, pull it forward, hips up, slide it back to plank. And from here, shift forward, chaturanga. And slide over your toes, upward facing dog. And push back, downward facing dog. And inhale, pull your feet forward, forward fold. And lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up, reach up. Maybe back bend a little bit. Hands to heart center. And turn to one side. And angle your right foot forward. And then bring the arch of your left foot to the heel. Reach your arms out to the side. Start to turn your pelvis to the side. Stay here. And really tone your abdomen. Tone your inner thigh muscles. And then start to slide your left leg back as you bend into the right knee. Warrior 2. And slide it back up. 2 more times like that. Slide it out. Warrior 2. And slide it back in. One more time. Slide it back. Warrior 2. And slide it back in. Turn your feet to face the same direction. Slide your left leg out. Hold that. Hold. Squeeze your heels towards one another. Lift your chest up. Hold. Hold. And fold in between your thighs. Hands touch the ground, harder than you think. Hands can help you stay stable here. Keep isometrically squeezing your heels towards one another so that you can stay in your fold. Take an inhale. Now exhale, grip the ground a little bit more, walk your hands forward, lift up halfway, inhale. And exhale, squeeze your feet together. Inhale, separate them. Exhale, squeeze your feet together, really push into the ground. Separate. And squeeze your feet together. 2 more times, separate. And squeeze together. Last time, separate. And squeeze together. And walk your hands toward your left. And turn your left toes that way. Come up to stand. Arms out by your sides, make them strong. Tone your belly. Start to activate your glutes and inner thigh muscles. You can adjust your stance if you need to. And bring your right heel right inner arch just behind the left heel. Now slide right leg back, bend into the left knee, warrior 2. And squeeze it back in. Slide it back. And squeeze it in. Slide it back. Last time, squeeze it in. Turn all 10 toes in the same direction. Bring your hands to your hips. Separate your feet wide, turn them out a little bit. And then start to sink in for a goddess squat. Yeah. Bring your hands to your inner thighs here. Lift your chest up. Take an inhale. On your exhale, start to straighten your left leg. Flex the left foot. And then squeeze it back in. Same thing, right side, straighten and squeeze. Left, squeeze. Right, squeeze. One more time each side. Left, squeeze. Right, squeeze. Turn to the top of your mats or top of your floor. Step to the top of the floor and forward fold. And inhale, lift up halfway. And exhale, plant your hands and imagine you were jumping back into chaturanga, but slide your feet back into chaturanga. And then pull them back up, forward fold. And then slide it back, shift the heart forward, chaturanga. Push up, forward fold. Slide it back, chaturanga. Forward fold. 2 more times, slide it back. This is a good drill to learn. Jump back, slide it back, chaturanga. And forward fold. And slide it back to plank. And push into the ground. And really find a firm foundation. And take a deep breath in. Separate your feet wide. And then pull them in. Send it back, and plank, wide, pull them in. Send them back, plank, wide, pull them in, back to plank. 2 more, wide, pull them in, back to plank, wide, pull them in, back to plank. Hold. Downward facing dog. Ooh. Really activate. Squeeze feet towards hands, hands towards feet. May feel a little bit shorter than normal in order to maintain that position. Now slide your right foot forward in between the hands and lower your left knee. Ooh. Inhale, reach your arms up. Anjaneyasana. Lift your chest up, tone your belly, and bring your hands to your hips, and really squeeze your outer hips in. Start to straighten your right leg, and flex the foot. Have a little micro bend to your right knee. Slide it forward, and squeeze it back into a lunge. Slide it forward, and squeeze it back into a lunge. Straighten, slide it forward. Slide it forward. Squeeze it into a lunge. Reach your arms up. Plant your hands. Slide back through a chaturanga. Feet stay in the ground the whole time. Upward facing. Push back. Downward facing dog. And slide the left foot through. Lower your right knee. Anjaneyasana, reach up. Tone your belly, lift your navel up. You got it. Take an inhale. And exhale your hands to your hips. And slowly straighten your left leg. Slide it forward. And squeeze your knee and heel towards one another. Just find your lunge again. Again, straight and slide. And squeeze it in. One more time. Straight and slide. And squeeze it in. Reach up, Anjaneyasana. And exhale, Chaturanga. Upward facing dog, inhale. Push back, downward facing dog. Immediately squeeze your feet forward, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Fold, exhale. Bend your knees enough that you can get your hands onto the ground and push into the ground. Try to stack your shoulders right over your wrists. Really lift your navel up. Push as much as you can and slide your feet apart from one another. And then squeeze them, lean your heart forward, squeeze them in front of your hands and come to a seat, maybe as ungracefully as I did. Come down with your feet on the ground, hands behind you. Come into reverse tabletop, lift your hips up. Take an inhale. And exhale, start to straighten right leg. And squeeze it back in. Straighten left leg. Squeeze it back in. Straighten right leg, flex the foot. Squeeze it back in, keep lifting your hips. Straighten left leg, flex the foot. Squeeze it back in, hello hamstrings. Now option to do right and left, or option straighten both legs, flex the feet. And squeeze them back in. 2 more times like that. Straighten both legs, flex the feet. And squeeze it back in. 1 more time, straighten both legs, flex the feet. And squeeze them back in. Lower your hips. And straighten your legs. Forward fold over them just for a moment. And take a deep breath in. And a long breath out. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, slowly walk your hands up. And come down to your back. Roll your shoulders underneath you, feet under your knees, about hip width apart. A little bit more hamstrings. Lift your hips up. And drive your elbows into the ground to lift your chest up. Engage your glutes. And take an inhale. And exhale, straighten your right leg forward. Flex the foot. Squeeze it in. Left leg forward, flex, squeeze. Option to go right and left. Option to do both. Squeeze. 3 more times. Squeeze. Squeeze. That's the word of the day, is squeeze. Lift your hips up higher. Notice maybe if your glutes feel a little bit more active now. And slowly come down. And flip over to your belly. And find Sphinx pose. Hips on the ground. Push your hips into the earth. Lift your chest up. Elbows shoulder width distance apart. Start to grip the ground with your hands pretty strongly here. Take an inhale. You probably guessed where we're going. If not, here we go. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees up, forearm plank. And take an inhale. And exhale, just very gently squeeze your heels forward and back, maybe 6 inches. Forward and back, forward and back. Try to keep your hips level, forward and back. So not lifting the hips yet, forward and back, forward, back, forward, back for 10, 9, 8, 7, I'm shaking too, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your forearm plank. And set your hips down, Sphinx pose. Lift your chest up, look forward. Interlace your hands, elbows under shoulders. Tuck your toes, forearm plank. This variation, lift up. And really push into the ground, squeeze your elbows isometrically towards one another. Tone your belly a lot, and squeeze your feet as close to your face as you can get them for dolphin. And then slide them back, forearm plank. Squeeze, dolphin. Slide it back, forearm plank. 3 more times. Dolphin, forearm plank. Dolphin, forearm plank. Dolphin, push. Forearm plank, hold. Take 5 of those little rocks again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sphinx pose, set the hips down, arms apart, chest lifts. And send your right forearm to the right. Come to your right side hip, like your supermodel. Okay. All right. Bring your left hand to your left hip. And bring your feet, not stacked, but your left heel right in the crease of your right ankle. Lift your hips up, forearm side plank. And hold that. Welcome to reach the arm up. Squeeze your feet forward and back, forward and back for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Forearm plank. All the way back down to Sphinx pose. Forearm side plank, I should say. Other side, forearm, left forearm, right heel into the left ankle crease. Really lift up through the left side waist, right hand to right hip, and lift your hips up. Option to reach the right arm up, squeeze your feet towards your heel or towards your elbow, and then back. Squeeze and back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for a moment. Forearm plank. One more time like that. Push into the ground, hips nice and level. Squeeze your feet towards your elbows for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Interlace your hands. Dolphin for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Forearm plank. Sphinx pose. Chest up. Stretch the belly. And roll over to the side. Come down to your back. Once again. Take a deep breath in. Long breath out. A little bit more posterior chain stuff. Bring your feet a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Lift your hips up, lift your spine up, roll your shoulders underneath you. Keep your arms straight, make fists. Drive your forearms, triceps down into the ground. Then point your toes out. Lift your hips up, lengthen the legs out, sweep them in, bridge pose. Lengthen the legs out, scoop them in, bridge pose. Hips up, lengthen the legs out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bridge pose lift. Slowly come down. And shake your hips from side to side. One more little thing. Flip over to your belly. Hands under your shoulders. Plank pose. Push into the ground. Really activate your belly. This is your last little push. Dome your shoulders. Right knee slides, right tricep. And back. To nose. And back. Left tricep. And back. Left knee, left tricep. Back. Nose. Back. Right tricep. Back. Option to stay opposite sides or do both feet at the same time. Both knees, right tricep. And back to nose. And back. Left tricep. Back. Right. Nose. Left. 3 more. Right. Nose. Left. 2 more. You've got it. Right. Nose. Left. Last one. Right. Nose. Left. Plank. And separate your feet hip width distance apart. Chaturanga. Upward facing. And push back. Downward facing dog. This doesn't feel so bad now, does it? Roll forward. Plank. And lower all the way down. And flip over to your back. Let the feet fall apart, or excuse me, knees fall apart. Feet together. Bring both hands over your belly. And thank it for all of the work it just did. Thank the whole body. Posterior chain, the shoulder girdle. Everything that worked. Thank your socks. Your slippery floor, for providing a space to do something unusual, challenging, maybe even a little fun. You can stay here as long as you like. You can straighten your legs if that feels nice. And find your Shavasana. And rest in your Shavasana in this unusual but challenging place that you just journeyed through. Sometimes the world can be an unusual and challenging place, but you journey through it. That's what's beautiful, is we persist despite. Thank you all so much for practicing with me. Namaste.